ahead.
Endelea kutazama Capuchin TV. Kitambulisho Katoliki.
Good evening and welcome to the Catholic Focus News Briefs this Tuesday, the 6th day of January 2026. I'm Sasha Elizabeth, joined in sign language interpretation by Eric Maluki. In this bulletin, the Catholic Church closes a historic Jubilee year as Pope Leo XIV seals the Holy Door at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. We also bring you stories of faith, education, food security, and community resilience. From Gatundu to Kakamega and from the courts in Kerugoya to grassroots efforts restoring hope. Let's now start right away from the heart of the Catholic Church. As Christians around the world mark the Feast of the Epiphany of the Lord on January the 6th, 2026, Pope Leo XIV has officially brought the Catholic Church's Holy Year, also known as the Jubilee of Hope, to a close at St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. In a solemn early morning ceremony, the pontiff sealed the special Holy Door of the Basilica, the last of the Jubilees for Holy Doors, formally concluded the year-long celebration first opened by Pope Francis on the 24th of December 2024. The closure of the Holy Door is a symbolic act that signifies the conclusion of the Jubilee, a tradition observed by the Catholic Church roughly every 25 years to emphasize forgiveness, spiritual renewal, and mercy. During this period, millions of pilgrims from across the globe entered Rome's major basilicas to walk through the holy doors in hopes of receiving spiritual blessings and indulgences. Pope Leo used the occasion not only to complete the ritual, but also to reflect on the year's meaning and call for compassion, urging the faithful to extend mercy to others and treat all people, including foreigners and those in need, with kindness and dignity. And the just closed Jubilee year, also known as the Holy Year, goes down in history as significant. It drew a record-breaking 33.5 million visitors to Rome and was notable for being opened by one pope and closed by another, a rare occurrence not seen in over 300 years due to the death of Pope Francis in April 2020. And the subsequent election of Pope Leo XIV. With the Holy Year concluded, the Church now looks forward to future celebrations of faith and service while Pope Leo continues his leadership into 2026. Closes a sacred chapter marked by renewal and hope. The focus now shifts closer home here, where difficult decisions in education sector are reshaping the lives of learners and parents alike. And parents of learners from St. Francis Primary School in Mangu, Gatundu North have expressed relief after pupils were successfully absorbed into neighboring schools following the abrupt demolition of their institution to pave the way for the construction of the constituency's first technical institute. Maureen Kimani with that report.
The learners have been relocated to Mangu Kawira Karure and Moya primary schools, with Mangu Primary School alone receiving 258 pupils. Education officials say learning activities have continued with minimal disruption as the host schools adjust to the increased enrollment. Gatundu North Member of Parliament Elijah Njoroge Kururia has pledged support to the affected schools through the construction of additional classrooms. He apologized to the parents for the disruption caused by the demolition and called on the community to work together in supporting development projects within the constituency, which he noted has lagged behind for years.
I know we had an issue at St. Francis Primary School, Mangu, and I want to appreciate the parents and the students there because we brought some disruptions when we decided that we are going to take their land and use it to have our first college in the constituency. And I want to apologize to all the students, to all the parents, because we caused disturbance. And I want to report that today all these students were distributed to neighboring schools. We must make sure that we participate, that we don't reject development, that we participate in giving ideas and also taking part and making sure that all the developments that are coming to this constituency are being received with appreciation.
The demolition of St. Francis Primary had initially sparked fear and uncertainty among parents who raised concerns about the safety and continuity of their children's education. However, the orderly relocation process has since restored confidence, with parents praising education authorities for ensuring a smooth transition.
Kuwa mzazi wa St. Francis, sasa nikakuja huku Mangu na mtoto wangu amechukuliwa PP2.
Nimeleta mtoto wangu huku Mangu kutoka St. Francis na tumeshukuru Mungu sana juu shule ilikuwa imebomolewa. Tulikuwa tunashida watoto wetu tutapeleka wapi, lakini tumewaleta huku Mangu na wakachukuliwa vizuri na sasa wako madarasani wanasoma.
Watoto wetu wamekuwa wakisoma huko but kulibomolewa na tukaambiwa watachukuliwa Mangu Primary. So tulikuwa frustrated that hatuoni process yoyote inafanyika ama ya kujenga madarasa Mangu Primary, but to our surprise tumeamkia kupata kuna madarasa zimefanywa renovation.
Reporting for Catholic Focus, Maureen Kimani.
And while learners find alternative classrooms in Gatundu, families across the country are confronting a broader back-to-school reality, one defined by rising education costs and tough financial choices. And as schools reopen for the first time across the country, parents are grappling with the rising cost of education, from school fees to learning materials. In Kakamega County, community leaders and business owners are stepping in to ease the burden as calls grow louder for timely release of government education funds. One such intervention is being led by Victory Church in Joyland Estate, where Apostle James Mabor says his foundation has identified and supported over 1,000 needy learners. Through donations of books, stationery, and school uniforms, the program targets learners from vulnerable families, ensuring they return to school on time. Meanwhile, traders say parents are increasingly planning ahead to cope with school-related expenses.
Leo niko na wanafunzi more than 1,500, wanafunzi ambao wamefanya grade 9, wanafunzi ambao wamefanya grade 7 na grade 8, alafu pia niko hapa vile pia na wanafunzi ambao wanaenda form 3 na wenye wanaenda form 4. So hapa hivi leo wanafunzi ambao wako hapa ni wanafunzi wangu ambao wako kwa program ya foundation. Hii leo ni wanafunzi wote wa Mayoni ambayo tumechagua kulingana na afisi zangu za education. Niko na afisi yangu ya education Mayoni Ward inasimamiwa na chairperson ambaye ni professional, ni mwalimu, na pia alichagua kamati ya watu 20 kutembea all over Mayoni kuhakikisha kwamba tunachukua wale watoto ambao wajiwezi kabisa ndio tufanyie shopping ya back to school. Na hii shopping ya back to school ni vitabu, kila mwanafunzi anapata vitabu 15 anapata kalamu 3, anapata pensili, na pia kuna marabasi hapa na kuna file ya kwenda kuweka dokumenti zake akifanya mtihani. Na vile pia tuko na programu nyingine pia back to school. Hiyo ni mama ndiye ako nayo, kwamba tunaenda kushona uniforms kwa watoto ambaye wajiwezi, kwa sababu kuna mtoto mzazi haezi faulu hata kununua uniform. So hiyo pia program inakuja, hiyo itasimamiwa na mke wangu ambayo atakuwa anasimamia that program, kuhakikisha kwamba kila mtu in my own ward ako na nafasi kama Mkenya mwingine, ako na nafasi kama mtoto wa Mayoni, na mzazi wake ako na nafasi ya kupata mahitaji kama wale watu wengine wale.
Last year the trend was that most of the parents were coming in January to purchase the educational material for their children, and because of the past experience, I think this year trend was a little bit different, because many parents prepared in December and they were purchasing most of the things, and since the goodness was that the syllabus has not changed or the books has not been revised again, so most of the parents knew that these are the books they are going to use. So that one has really given us and even parents easy time to prepare in advance for the back to school.
And beyond the classrooms, economic pressures are also being felt at the household level, with food security emerging as yet another area of concern. Even as communities rally around learners, stakeholders continue to urge the government to release education funds on time to guarantee smooth learning under the competency-based education. The High Court in Kerugoya will, on January 29th, deliver a ruling on whether the government will be allowed to import 254,000 metric tons of rice to bridge the country's rice deficit. The ruling will be made by Justice Edward Murithi following an application by the government seeking approval to import rice after a prolonged drought-affected production. Government lawyers told the court that Kenya is currently facing a rice shortage, warning that local production cannot meet national demand. Through State Counsel Samuel Kaumba and Eric Deore, the government argued that the country requires between 1.3 and 1.5 million metric tons of rice annually, yet local production accounts for only 20% of that demand. The government further warned that the situation could worsen in the first 6 months of 2026, when demand is projected to hit 750,000 tons against an expected local production of just 110,000 tons. However, rice farmers strongly oppose the application, insisting that they have produced enough rice in the past 2 months to feed the country. Through their lawyer, Andrew Muge, the farmers accused the government of failing to purchase locally produced rice, arguing that importation would hurt their livelihoods. Justice Murithi directed that the matter will be determined on January 29th, when the court will decide whether the rice importation will proceed or not.
Even what they are proposing is also causing a disruption. So that it's a balancing act. We are praying that the court balances both interests.
Issues that have been raised, and then I'll come up with the question that was raised by this honorable court. My Lord.
What we shall do is, if we are not able to give full directions on the hearing of the petition on 29th, I can give you a day or two to consider the ruling. Then we will deal.
That's fine.
Yeah?
That's fine.
Thank you very much. So you have agreed. We come back on 29th of January at 2:30. Could clerk confirm?
Yes, 2:30.
At 2:30 for ruling on the matter.
Efforts to tackle early pregnancies, HIV infections, and gender-based violence are gaining momentum in Kakamega County. In Mumias East constituency, a community-based organization has rolled out an empowerment project dubbed MTAR, targeting widows, teenage mothers, and other vulnerable groups. Alan Ndiva reports on how kitchen gardening is transforming livelihoods and restoring hope.
On this small but productive piece of land, seeds of hope are being planted quietly, literally. Men and Tradition Against AIDS, popularly known as MTAR, has launched a kitchen gardening project aimed at empowering youths, widows, and people living with HIV in Mumias East constituency.
Hii project ya mboga ni project ambayo MTAR ilikuja nayo haswa kusaidia watoto wetu ambaye tuna elimisha vile wanaweza kuishi.
Tunazindua leo mradi wao wa upanzi wa mboga ambayo wako nayo hapa, na huu mradi lengo kubwa ni kuwezesha vijana ili waweze kujisimamia, waweze kupanda mboga, vitunguu katika maboma zao, ndiposa waweze kupata pesa kidogo kidogo.
The initiative seeks to address persistent challenges of early pregnancies, HIV transmission, and gender-based violence by equipping vulnerable households with practical farming skills.
Kuna wale ambao pia wameathirika na virusi, pia itawasaidia katika chakula, na pia wamama ambao wako hii sehemu watajifunza kutokana na hiki kilimo ama demonstration plot ya MTAR katika sehemu hii. Wataweza kujisimamia kama wamama, kwa sababu tunapata mara nyingi kuwa wamama hawana uwezo wa kujisimamia katika nyumba zao, na pia inachangia hizi shida za gender based violence. Na pia watoto wetu hasa wasichana, changamoto la kupata pads ama sodo pia itawasaidia waweze kupata pesa kidogo.
Speaking during the launch of modern kitchen gardening demonstration site, MTAR Director Gertrude Lwanga says the project was informed by research findings that painted a worrying picture of the social challenges affecting the area.
Shida nyingi sana nyumbani, hawana chakula, nyumbani hawezi kupata kalamu, hawezi kupata sodo, wako na shida paka watafute hata pesa ya kulipa karo kidogo kidogo hawawezi. Sasa tukaonelea, tukitembea kwa hizi maboma tunapata watoto wamepanda maua. Kweli saa ingine shamba haliko kubwa nyumbani, hawana shamba la kutosha, na tukaonelea kwamba tukija na huu mradi wa kupanda mboga kwa sehemu ndogo, hii mradi inaweza kuwasaidia hata kupata pesa kidogo kila siku. Watapata chakula, yani mboga itakuwa kwa wingi, wanaweza kuuza hii mboga na wapate pesa kidogo kidogo ambaye inaweza kuwatosha ili wasiende kurandaranda wakitafuta sodo, wakitafuta kalamu, wakitafuta chakula.
Lwanga notes that beyond food security, the project is designed to promote dignity, self-reliance, and resilience within household, while encouraging responsible land use through small-scale vegetable farming.
Hata walinzi wao tunakutana na hao kila mara hapa, tukaona mama akilinda shamba ndogo kama hili linaweza kumsaidia ili asiende kuomba mboga kwa maboma, akitembea akienda kwa sokoni. Hii ni mradi ambaye anaweza kukaa tu nyumbani na kutumia wakati wake kutengeneza hii mboga na impatie pesa na pia apatie watoto wake lisho.
The initiative has also received strong backing from the national government.
Hii demonstration plot itasaidia wananchi wa Mumias East, wa mama, vijana, hasa wasichana na vijana pia watasaidika, na tutapunguza hii gender based violence, teenage pregnancy na HIV.
Huu mradi tumeanza juzi na tunahimiza tu wadau wengine wakuje tusaidiane nao, ili huu mradi ni demonstration hapa, na tunataka kila mtu hapa Mumias sub county akuwe na mboga nyingi kwao. Tumetafuta hata market, kwa hivyo kila mtu akipanda mboga, tumepata market huko Nakuru, na tunatarajia hiyo itatusaidia sana kuchangisha hii mboga kutoka kwa kila boma, na tunapeleka hiyo mboga nje.
For the beneficiaries, among them widows, elderly persons and students, the impact is already evident.
Mradi ambao umeanzishwa hapa ndio mradi ambao nimeanza kufanya wakati ambapo tumemaliza mtihani wa kidato cha 4, na unanisaidia napata pesa hapo za kutumia za kazi zingine ambazo niko nazo. Nahimiza vijana wote wa mama wa embrace hii culture ya kupanda mboga, ili wapate pesa za kutumia katika maboma zao, na hata vijana pia wapate shughuli zao ambazo wanaweza fanyia pesa.
Mtaa imenisaidia ikanifunza vile naweza panda mboga, kwa kunisaidia kununua sodo na mambo mengine kama ya msichana. Hata mtaa imenisaidia vile jinsi naweza mwagilia mboga maji, vile naweza panda, na vile nasaidia pia wasichana wengine ku encourage waendelee kujifunza na kupata nguvu za kuweza kupanda mboga ili waweze kuwasaidia matumizi.
They say the project has not only improved their nutrition but also reduced their dependency on the handouts.
Saa hizi vijana naona wakishinda hapa, wenye wako kwa mtaa naona wakishinda hapa wakitengeneza hizi, naonanga wako busy. Sasa sitasumbukana na maneno ya kuangalia, wako tu busy hapa. Mtaa imenifundisha, wametufundisha jinsi ya tuko na vyama, imetutengenezea vyama, wametupea pesa, tumenufaika na hiyo pesa. Tuko na merigo, tuko na nini, wamama wamepandako mboga. Hii ingine ya kienyeji tumefunzwa.
Sababu hii ya mboga huwezi kuwa na shamba kubwa au ndogo, hakuna tofauti. Sababu inakufunza namna vile unaweza panda. Hata ukiwa mahali kidogo unapanda mboga ya kutosha kulisha familia yako. Mimi niko na mboga ya kulisha familia yangu, mimi sinunue mboga. Kitu ya kwanza ilinitoa, nilikuwa na stress kidogo kusema ya kwamba mtu mkubwa unaweza kwenda pimwa HIV namna gani, sababu nilikuwa nimejiangalia kutembea kwangu au kwa safi, lakini mafunzo yake ilinifunza mpaka nimekubali kupimwa, nimechua hali yangu na nimechua, na wamenifunza vile naweza kaa nyumbani. Na
as the kitchen gardening project takes roots across Mumias East, stakeholders are hopefully it will play a critical role in curbing social vulnerabilities while strengthening household income. Reporting for the Catholic Focus, I'm Alan Andiva.
And at a time when many families and communities are grappling with social and economic pressures, such grassroots initiatives show just how empowerment, not dependency, can become a powerful tool for sustainable change. And that story right there by Alan brings us to the end of the Catholic Focus News Briefs. As the Church closes a sacred chapter with the Jubilee year, we reflect on stories that remind us that faith is also lived out in classrooms, in courts of justice, in farms, and in communities standing together in times of need. I'm Asasha Elizabeth with Eric Maluki on sign language interpretation. And on behalf of everyone who made this successful, we say thank you for watching and have a blessed evening.
Keep watching Capuchin TV, your staunchly Catholic identity channel. You are watching Capuchin TV. For any complaints, comments, or compliments on our programming, you can either write to us on info@capuchintv.co.ke or you can call us directly on 0717 424 866. Your complaint shall be addressed within 7 days. Remember to keep a copy of your communication with us. Keep watching Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.